I mean, it was like the laziest 3 a.m. thumbnail of my life.
Nice,
I just helped feed Fox. I was about to go to bed and I was like, my eyes like pinged open. I was like, fuck, I haven't set the stream up.
I mean, yeah, it's not the end of the world. It could be set up like sort of ad hoc, but yeah, I guess it's good to do it in advance, I guess.
Well, it's just otherwise I'll end up having to do the thumbnail on the spot. That's the only thing that takes time, really. You know, like typing. Everything else I've got on default, and the title takes seconds, but the thumbnail's the only thing, really.
Yeah. Oh, what'd you just take?
Drugs.
Popping pillies, he just feels just like a rock star.
That's right. I've got to do it for the big show, you know. It's how I get hyped.
Yeah, man. I respect it. I respect the effort. You just dropping like ecstasy to get through the show. All right.
What the fuck else am I supposed to do?
It's true. You're definitely not entertaining by default, so
yeah, I need something. I need some sort of stimulant to make it work.
That you do. Cool, man. We are live, by the way. So yeah, how's it going? You good?
Are we really? Is that working? Beth's just messaged me saying no sound. Is that real?
You don't think so. Everything seems to be coming through on my end. Okay, I can see all the audio levels bouncing. So,
okay, I'm just.
But I don't know.
Just clicking it myself and have a look. Oh my goodness! Yes, I'm great. It's very old. No sound. You're a liar. You're a liar, Beth. Your TV's not working.
It's no sound. It's weird. My TV has an icon with like a speaker and a line going through it.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
What's that about?
Kidding. Love you, Beth. Just taking the piss.
It's very cold, Tim. It's very cold.
Tell me about it, dude. Like, it's fucking freezing. And like Tilly's place, she doesn't want to turn on the heating, obviously, because bills, am I right? And
yeah,
she's only got single glazing, like single pane windows. So like just
oh no,
yeah,
no,
it's so fucking
Jesus.
It's so cold, dude.
That's horrible.
Yeah, like heated blankets and more blankets, sort of cold. Otherwise, you actually die. Like I saw a frostbite on my feet when I was coming out of the shower today.
It's horrendous. Yeah. Unfortunately, that option kind of dissipates when you have a newborn. But so we have to use the heating regardless.
Yeah, you have to keep them at temperature. Yeah,
it's rough. But I have a handy tip. A handy tip, everyone. If you're out here, if you're like us and you're struggling with your bills, you're struggling with your cold, frostbitten feet, leave your oven open after you cook. That's it. That's all I've got.
Or just don't use your oven.
That's a strat,
use an air fryer. It's apparently half the price of an oven in terms
I'm not jumping on this fucking air fryer train. I'm not doing it.
Well, people are only jumping on it because it literally is like half the cost of an oven to run. So people just air fry everything to save loads of money. Because an oven takes a freaking small eternity. A small eternity? It takes a lot of power.
Hello?
You good?
There is audio. I can hear audio when I'm checking it online. I'm checking it. I'm checking my stream and I can hear us both fine. Yeah, I know. I can tell there's none on your TV.
Did she just?
Audio.
Well, okay. I don't know what to tell you. It's working fine.
All right then.
All right. Thanks for letting us know.
Yeah. I mean, I could double check. I can get Tilly to triple check this for us.
Where's Joaquin, man? Where's Joaquin when you need him?
Yeah, Joaquin.
Where's
the hell are you?
Honorary technical assistant. Yeah. Let me just post to Twitter. There he is. Yes. You summon him and he will come.
Oh my god, that's so weird.
Actually Beetlejuiced him.
Yeah, we were literally just being like, "Where are you, Joaquin?" That's crazy.
Have we got audio? We're getting mixed reports that our audio's not working. I think it is.
Come on, man. And if we are getting audio, what kind of level? Give me percentages. Kidding.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, there are sort of audio. Beth's just either got a broken TV or a broken brain. She's got a
Yeah,
baby
it's-
brain
I mean,
or a
yes,
broken
it's
TV.
perfectly feasible.
Yeah.
When you've got a newborn that's 3.5 weeks old. Oh no, hang on, 3 weeks old. How old is he? What does it matter? It's been busy.
It was like late. Wait, did he?
3 weeks. Yeah,
Was he?
3 weeks.
Yeah, he was like sort of late November. No, was he? Did he break into December? Was he born in December?
No,
Fox?
he was. No, he was 20th, 2011, 22. Yeah, 20th.
2011, 22. So the 20th of November. He's much older than 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Then that's almost a month, Deck. It's the 18th.
Is today Sunday? Is he a month old today?
No,
Yo,
almost,
let's
almost. He's not quite. I don't think.
4
It's-
weeks, not a month. 4 weeks though.
Yeah. Man, you are
That's pretty
tired.
high because I really wanted him to be born on the 22nd.
Okay.
Because he would have had 22, 11, 22, and that's some like Elder Scrolls like release date shit.
Imagine if
There'd
he's
have been a
born
palindrome.
on
22,
the
11, 22.
Starfield release day.
Man.
And he
man.
came out
Yeah.
blue like an alien.
Is that because that's what aliens look like? You've just got Avatar in the brain, haven't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I watched that actually. I watched Avatar.
How was that? Well, why don't you jingle us in and we can start with that?
Okay. All right. Let's do
And
that.
I'll do the quick thing. Hi everyone, welcome to Quick Zoom episode 81. This is my name's Deck, that name's Tim, and we're talking about video games and stuff. Okay,
We talk
cool.
about Avatar for an hour and a half. Okay, cool. I'll just carry on talking with the jingle. Hopefully, I go over the volumes of it.
Yeah, just speak up a bit. Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, I watched Avatar.
Yeah.
Which was okay. It was
Great.
it was long. It was one of those movies
Yes.
where, although it was good, I noticed the length while I was watching it, and so did Tilly as well. Literally, there were certain points where I was like, this has gone on too long. Like, this is beautiful. It's nice CGI. I get it. But I don't need to watch this for 25 minutes. Like, this really slow, like, scene and stuff like that. It's just like, I just didn't need that. Like, I could do it for 5-10, but I didn't need to do it for 25 minutes. And yeah, it was just a bit too long, I think, is my only criticism. Some of the CGI looks a bit weird. And I think that's because I think some of the shots were really made with 3D in mind, and when you don't watch it in 3D, like, you notice it.
Oh,
There's
still doing 3D.
yeah. So it's still doing its 3D stuff. Yeah, that's the best thing to watch it in is 3D. You know, because they got all this new revolutionary tech that's better than all other 3D movies or whatever.
Wow.
And yeah, there were certain points where I was watching it and I was like, this is like a really 3D shot here. Like, I could tell by the way this is layered, and and I'm just like, this looks kind of weird, not in 3D. Like, I feel like they're trying to force something on my eyes here, but it's not. Yeah, I definitely had a few of those moments. But overall,
that was a
it
problem
good.
that a lot of films in that era had, though, wasn't it? Like the noughties in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
A lot of them were like, 3D. We've got to have the knife flying at the camera.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly. Yeah, and like the glass smashing and all over you, that sort of thing. No, it wasn't quite as offensive as that, but I could definitely tell by just the way it was set up. A few of them, like, I think that movie, I probably could have bumped it up another whole point, maybe more, if I watched it in 3D. I'm not saying it's a bad experience if you don't watch it in 3D, but I do think you're just getting the full experience if you do. So yeah, I'd probably give it like a 7, and I'd probably bump it up to like an 8, maybe, if I watched it in 3D, probably. But it's hard to say. But yeah, it was pretty good. Just some pacing issues, I think. Yeah.
There's actually kind of an interesting line of thought, though. I kind of want to pull that thread on the 3D trend, firstly, and secondly on the long length of movies, because I think there's a good analogy and a good conversation to have about games there somewhere. But on the 3D trend thing, like, wow, that's I couldn't even tell you the last time I watched a 3D movie. I literally couldn't tell you.
I think mine was Avatar.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like I have watched one since then that was in 3D. So you're still wearing like stupid glasses with one red and one blue.
No,
Or
no,
they're
no.
not
I
red
don't
and
think it's
blue?
one red, one blue. I think they're just like standard black rim glasses now. They look kind of normal esque, but like I said, we didn't watch it in 3D, so I don't know. But last time we watched something in 3D, it wasn't the blue.
Oh, you
red.
didn't.
No, no, no. We didn't watch it in 3D.
I missed that.
No, no, no. That's why I was saying some of the shots look kind of weird. Like I thought this was made for 3D, and I said I'd probably bump it up a point if maybe I did watch it in that. But yeah, no.
Because it always ends up becoming just such a novel thing, doesn't it? I don't know, like, because a part of me is like, that's crazy tech. Like, imagine if you're the person to figure out that you could watch 3D in front of a cinema. And you're like, this is going to change entertainment forever.
Yeah,
Like, all you have to do is get your audience to wear glasses, and then like one film in, everyone's like, that was a fucking waste of my. That was lame. I've got a headache. I'm dizzy. They were like, I've got paper cuts behind my ears. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely kind of rough. And yeah, that's one thing where I was saying like I might bump up a point if I watched it in 3D, but I also think like equally that long a movie wearing glasses and watching it in 3D, I think my head would come out like porridge afterwards. Like I genuinely think like there's only so much strain my eyes can take. So yeah, that would be quite interesting.
I feel you.
Probably come out with a headache.
Yeah, I feel you. And it's like, because it brings me back to like the 3DS, because I mean, like, because even at the time, you know, there were like 3D home TVs being sold, weren't there? Like, and you could like get your glasses, and the pictures was like the family, or like everyone was wearing the glasses, watching the TV at home. But I don't really know how that would work for films that weren't really designed for it. You know, but like, because the only game I can really think of on the 3DS that like that actually took advantage of that and I leveraged it was the 3D Super 3D Mario World. You know, the one.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And the reason that works is because a lot of the platforming, a lot of the angles that the game would give you, it was advantageous to have more of a depth perception. So you could see when you were coming down onto a platform and things like that. You know, that worked. So that game was really good. I think that might be one of the few Mario games I've like played through completion. But it's crazy that tech is like, because we've kind of just now jump roped, pig,
Just
frog,
skipped is fine.
piggy, frog, leapfrogged over that and into VR.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I just think that's funny because you just like, instead of having a middleman that makes something come out the screen, it's I'll just wrap the screen around your head.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we just jumped. Yeah, just import it straight into their brain. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
it's such a waste of time. All this just viewing it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just put him in the world.
Consume.
But yeah. So yeah. Overall, it was decent. I'm not disappointed with it. I don't know if it was worth the wait. A 13-year wait.
Yeah, wow.
But very, very pretty. Very cinematic, very nice. And yeah, it was the animation is like really smooth. Like everything flows like you're playing like a 120 FPS game. You know, like it's like really smooth. To the point where that's almost a little bit jarring until you get used to it. Because it just kind of looks really like too smooth sometimes.
Yeah.
And then you get used to it. But yeah. The voice acting was great, and all like the tech behind the facial animations was great and stuff like that. Yeah. No, it was really good.
Well, most films output are like 30 anyway, don't they? So yeah, I can imagine that would be a bit weird. Like films don't really output 60 because for the same reason it's a bit jarring.
Yeah, I mean
it's cinematic.
Yeah, if you go and watch it, you'll know what I mean. It's like playing like it's like playing like Gunfire Reborn, but like, the entire movie. It's like really smooth, like too smooth.
Yeah, I feel you. And then the second half, like length of movies, right? Again, something around that era filmmakers were like obsessed with like 3-hour long movies.
Mhm.
It was just a thing. I can't think of any off the top of my head right now, actually, but it was a thing. Or like 2.5, 3 hours, and like it brings me back to this idea of like pacing with like, can you have something go on forever, but if it's engaging enough, it's not a problem? Or is there like an inherent length where attention just starts to drop off? And yeah, you can mitigate that with a good story and everything else. Or what do you, because we've had this conversation about games before, and I think it's just quite interesting parallel with movies. Like, what do you think? Do you think that there is an inherent length your attention just drops off, or do you think that it's just that a lot of media struggles to keep it together for that length of time, whether it's a 3-hour movie or 60-hour game?
I think it's a little bit of both. I do think media do struggle to pace movies that long, and it does. You do notice it. It's not often a movie can be like 2.5, 3 hours plus, and it flies by like the snap of your fingers, and you don't notice the length of it. I'd say the only ones that do that for me are probably the Lord of the Rings trilogy, because I feel like those are just very well paced. Like I could watch that movie and just be like, I didn't feel like that was a 3-hour movie, but it was. Like they're just good. I don't know if that's nostalgia carrying it or something, but I've always just felt that way.
Yeah.
But I do also think there is just a certain length you do just start to get fed up. I mean, you're just sitting there. You're not doing anything interactive. You're not like mashing buttons or anything like that. There's only so long you can do that for before your body's just like, oh, I'm just sick of this. Like, and
your body gives out.
Yeah, and I think that is like the 3-hour mark. Like, I think even if a movie is like really good, I think when it passes 3 hours, I'm like, credits, just please roll. Like, I'm done here. So yeah, I think it's a mixture of both. But like I said, Lord of the Rings movies really long. I don't feel like they had pacing issues in my eyes. I felt like the most recent Black Panther movie didn't really have any pacing issues, even though that was almost 3 hours. Like I watched that movie and I didn't really feel at any point where I was like, this is long, like this is being dragged out. Well, I genuinely thought that while watching Avatar. That thought actually crossed my mind in a couple of scenes. I was like, this movie's really long. I was like, this scene's gone on too long. So yeah, I think it's how it's approached and done, and then I do think there is just a cap that you just need to like just make it like just under 3 hours if possible. But yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because it becomes this whole thing of like, because there's like good evidence, there's a lot of studies on like attention spans and how long our attention can last when we're interested in something, and that fluctuates, but it's not it's far less than 3 hours. I think the last time I checked, like hardcore, like we call it top down attention, like goal orientated like attention, it was about 40 minutes. It's not long at all, because there was this whole thing in like the early noughties about like homework and revision and how students should be revising rather than cramming, and it's still relevant, but yeah, nonetheless, like I think that changes when you're talking about media and something someone has interest in. But yeah, it becomes this whole dilemma of like, well, art is art, right? And we shouldn't necessarily be making something which is like hyper engaging for art. I know that's a bit stupid, but simply because a lot of companies use engagement as KPIs, but that's not always what it's about. Like pictures don't have engagement, you know what I mean? Paintings.
It's true.
Really?
Yeah. They don't literally, you don't just go to an art gallery and when you start looking at a painting, someone just like hits a stopwatch. Like, yeah. Wow, I got to look at that painting for 10 minutes. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I come away from it. I'm like, do you know what? That painting was too long. That went on for too. That was too engaging. Yeah, so it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about some Vibio games. Should we talk about some Vibio games? Why don't you start, because you've got the High on Life experience in the party, and I don't have. I wanted to finish off Ragnarok so I could start it before the show today. I was unsuccessful. So why don't you kick us off with some High on Life, because that is one of our first stories.
Yeah. Okay. So High on Life released this week, as I'm sure everyone is aware. Released a pretty mixed reception. I mean, we'll go over that in a bit, but yeah, based off my experience of the game, I'm enjoying it, man. I think it's pretty good. I don't think it's like a masterpiece, and I'm not just like blowing smoke up its ass just because it's like a Games Pass and a Xbox exclusive or anything like that. It is Xbox exclusive, right? It's not on PlayStation.
It is at the moment, yeah. It's
Yeah.
exclusive at the moment. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a pretty good game, you know. It's very light-hearted. It's very funny and silly, as you'd expect, being made for the Squad Studios, people behind Rick and Morty. And
Squad.
I don't feel like that humor is kind of cringe a lot of the time. I feel like it's pretty well held. Pretty well held. I don't know. That was a weird way of saying it. But yeah, I don't think it's that cringe. You know, that sort of humor where it tries to be too funny and then it falls on its face. It's kind of just like, it's more like rude humor, like just in your face rude. It's like swearing a lot and it's like just about like killing people. And there are some bits in there that are pretty funny as well. But yeah, it's just I'd say the gameplay's pretty good. Pretty standard shooter. Nothing too crazy. Feels pretty good. Feels kind of floaty a little bit. It's not like ultra snappy. But
Expected.
It's decent. It's decent shooting mechanics. Like, they're definitely not bad. And yeah, I've only got a couple of the weapons. So I'm probably like, I'd say I'm about 4 to 5 hours in. I've got a couple of the weapons. They're all quite interesting. They're sort of weapons that react. They all have like an alternate fire that like reacts with the world as well. So like the first gun, you can shoot like a glob that like knocks over platforms that let you get like progress through the level and stuff like that. It's used to solve those kind of puzzles, and it can also knock enemies up in the air for you to combo them. The second gun can shoot like discs that like stick in certain walls, and you can use them as platforms to jump up. So you can like create your own platforms and stuff like that. As well as them just being guns,
Very nice.
too, like a pistol and a shotgun and stuff like that. And yeah, so that's pretty fun. That's pretty inventive. I'm looking forward to seeing what other guns there'll be. The voice acting is phenomenal in that game. Just really good.
That's good.
I'm not sure how many like different voice actors they got, or if it's just like the same few people just doing loads of different voices for like all the different aliens and characters. It probably is. To be honest, I do recognize that they're just adjusting their voice a little bit. But yeah, no, it's just really well done. Like, they're all hilarious. Just all the standard NPCs are just, I don't know, they're just really funny. You walk past them and they say like really funny shit, and yeah, the guns are all really funny. Morty does a great job. So many lines though. The guy who voices Morty, it's crazy.
Justin Roiland, yeah.
Yeah, he's literally just, my God. He constantly talks, and it's all unique stuff. I haven't heard like repeat lines at all. And yeah, it's just really good. And it like, there's like different lines based on what you do and stuff like that, and it's just funny. It breaks the fourth wall a lot, which is funny to me. And yeah, no, I'm just having a lot of fun with it. I give it like a solid 7 right now, I'd say. There are some tech issues here and there. Frame rates drop sometimes. There's like this weird shakiness to like the animations sometimes, especially in cutscenes. Everything's a bit weird and shaky and wobbly. But nothing too jarring to the point where I'm like, this is breaking my immersion or this is ruining the game. Yeah, I think it's decent.
Okay, well, in some mention like a bit week. Like the current score of the game.
You're lagging.
Open tickets place.
You're lagging quite a bit.
I'm lagging.
Yeah. I don't know if it's since you pulled up like a web page or something. Keep talking.
You were correctly to me, so I wasn't sure if it was you or me.
I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds like it's me.
You're kind of back though, so.
Okay, my bad. Right, let me know if it happens again.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, this has been kind of the point of contention for the week with High on Life, and I think OpenCritic is the best place to get the temperature for this because OpenCritic, if you don't know, takes kind of the reviews of all platforms. So that's in most cases that's good. In some instances, you want to use Metacritic, which you can separate it by platform. So for like Cyberpunk, Metacritic would have been the best place to go because obviously that was the horrible one last gen. So anyway, at the moment, High on Life is sitting at 69 on what nine on but just to add, because I know some people are using this as a measurement as well, on Metacritic, the Series X edition of High on Life is at 61, whereas the PC version is at like I think 68 or something. So anyway, these are low scores. 67 is 67. These are low scores, and it kind of this thing. Comedy in games, I really don't feel like comedy games always get this kind of mixed reception. And like, because I'm looking at some of the scores now, like 3 out of 10, 2 out of 5, 4 out of 10. And there seems to be a big discrepancy as well in the gunplay. Like a lot of reviews who have scored it really low have been like, the gunplay is like absolutely like horrible. It's horrible. And I don't like the humor. So like a lot of this, so I don't like, are you getting that sense that some people could come away from life feeling that the gameplay is so horrible that it's worth a 4 out of 10?
No. Like I said, I'm not riding home about the gunplay. Like it's not brilliant, but it's serviceable and it feels,
it does the job.
Yeah, it feels fine.
Yeah.
I've played worse games in terms of gunplay than this. It's not that bad. It's not a 4 out of 10 bad. I'd say, like, if I was being quite critical on it, I'd say it's like a 6 out of 10 bad, the gunplay. Like, I give it just over the halfway point if I was being quite critical.
It's probably the weakest area, right?
Yeah, it's definitely the weakest area. Yeah, because the game looks good. And is pretty funny, at least from my standpoint. So yeah, it's definitely, yeah, it's not a 4 out of 10 bad. I think that's very harsh. But it is its weakest point. I will agree with the reviewers on that regard. Yeah.
Yeah. And the flip side of that is that from the sense I'm getting is that actually, for Squanch Studios for like debut like console game, because I've done VR stuff, I think.
Yeah.
Before the other areas of the game are really strong. The music, the visuals, the writing, and it's annoying because you always have to like silver line. You always have to like add a wrinkle there. Oh, if you like that sort of humor, well, it's like we don't do this with like other areas of games, do we? We don't do this whole thing of like. I guess it's I don't know.
God of War is 10 out of 10, but if you don't like Norse mythology, it's a 0 out of 10.
Yeah, like do you know what I mean? Like, we don't do that. It's like, well, is it fun? Like, is it good or not? Like, can you appreciate that it's good if you don't like it? Like, surely that's the whole point of this.
Yeah.
From what I understand, so I've heard a lot of good things in pretty much every other area of the game. So obviously, like I said, I haven't played it yet. It's just quite interesting. And it's like I said, on Metacritic, it's leveled out at 69. If it was a 7 out of, and that's pretty much a 7 out of 10, which is maybe reasonable for what the game is. But a lot of people feel strongly that it should maybe be higher, and it's really being dragged down by anomalies that just hate this style of humor.
Yeah.
And in which case, it's like, why were your reviewers who hate Rick and Morty sent out to review the Rick and Morty game? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's really harsh just to get someone who hates that type of humor, hates Rick and Morty, that sort of thing, to just sit down and play this game. Like, they're obviously not going to have a good time. So, like, it just becomes a completely invalid review, in my opinion. But then you could also argue the same point is if you get a super fanboy of Rick and Morty to sit down and play this game, they're going to like it more than the average person. But, like, you can make arguments from both sides, but I don't know, man. Like, there's nothing wrong with the humor in this game. Like, it's it's good. It's fine. It's not cringy at all. I played some games where like the humor is literally just like just cringe, But this one's just like you just have a knife who's just running around saying stab the fucking piece of shit, gut his belly and stuff like that. And that shit's just funny, and it's not like in your face. It's not trying too hard. It's just like rude, crude humor.
Yeah.
And I feel like that just sits well compared to something trying too hard. But yeah, some of these reviews are very, very harsh in my opinion.
Because but some of the way some of these reviews are written, you'd have thought Justin Roiland like personally upset them. Like,
yeah, I saw the Eurogamer
took a dump
one.
in their oven and like just left it on.
Yeah.
Pissed in their boiler system. I don't. So okay, just as an excerpt from the Eurogame one, because I did reply to this as well. So I saw, and they didn't score it on a number. They just said avoid. Aside from a botched attempt to rebottle Rick and Morty as a first-person shooter, High on Life is a covert, playable manifesto for games in general, as callous, explicit, and made up of false choices. Incubation vats, in short, for cavalier dickheads. If it took itself seriously enough to make statements, it might offer itself as an expression of the art form at its worst. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm sorry.
Insane. And
who's a dickhead?
And takes itself seriously. Like, it's completely against what they're going for. Like, I just don't understand. It's supposed to be just this wacky ass.
No.
It doesn't make sense.
You don't understand, Tim. We need games that are serious, dark fantasy, third-person games where you are a dad and it is sad and there's some RPG element and it's sad, and it's that is honestly like, I really do. I get that feeling that we're just in that age at the moment where that's what everyone wants, and everything that isn't that is like, it's just kind of a video game. Do you know what I mean? It's like a lesser game.
Yeah. No, it's just, people just take this shit way too seriously. Like, whatever happens, you're just sitting down and just having a good time on a game.
Having fun.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I can guarantee
Laughing.
you, if you were to finish this podcast now, boot that game up, it's not going to blow you away, but you were going to sit on your sofa. You don't need to sit up. You don't need to be in your gamer chair. You don't need to be all like hunched in front of the screen focusing. You can just chill back on your sofa and just enjoy this game, and I guarantee you'd have a smile on your face, because it's just funny, chilled out gaming. And like, I just don't, I if anything, I feel like we don't get enough of this sort of thing, and I think it's like a breath of fresh air to actually have just something that doesn't take itself seriously. And it's just, I don't know, man, I like it. People
I largely felt the same way. I said the same thing with Psychonauts, the end of 21 or whatever it was. But I liked, and that's not a comedy game, but there are comedy elements in it. That was like, I like that this game just tries to make me laugh sometimes. It's such, like you said, it's just such a nice breath of fresh air. And this is obviously that cranked up to 15, on the comedy meter and the everything else it tries to do. So, but it's I do find it irritating. Like I said, I'm yet to give my own thoughts, but from what I'm seeing, I mean, I like that. I think the writing of these games are funny, and it is a bit annoying to see so many reviewers like take it personally. Do you know what I mean?
Like, that Eurogamer one was just, that's below the belt, man. Like, at this point, you're not just like an impartial party reviewing a product. Like, this man hates everything about Rick and Morty and the creators, and he was going to give this game, or she was going to give this game a fucking 0 no matter what.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
That's right. So that's my only thing. Like, I understand for and there's a larger point here about the reviewing process, which we're not going to go into right now, but some of the scores here seem wholly like justified or hinging on the fact that I hate this isn't making me laugh. I hate it.
Yeah,
and and it's in which case it's kind of like, well, it's not for you then, is it? You know, it's like if I went to play like really any game, Elden Ring, and I was like, I hate how this looks. I hate it. I know a 99 out of 100 people love it, but I hate this and I hate this and I can't get over it. I cannot possibly get
Yeah.
past it. 3 out of 10.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, yeah. I mean, there's not really much more to say on the matter, but yeah, I just feel like, yeah, it got done pretty dirty, this game. It's not perfect by any means, but as Joaquin was saying, like a 4 out of 10, it's like that's a seriously bad game. Like that's a game that has like some pretty serious tech issues, like, and it just genuinely doesn't feel good to play, and you're just not getting like pretty much any enjoyment out of the game. Is the sort of scores you'd give like a 3 or a 4 out of 10, or even just not scoring it like Eurogamer, which is essentially just saying that they would rather scoop out their eyes than play this game, which is just ridiculous. And also another thing Joaquin said is give these guys Conquer, and I could not agree more.
Squad Studios.
I feel like Squad Studios would do such a good job with Conquer. It's just right up their alley. The rude, crude humor is exactly why people love Conquer, and I feel like I know that these guys have only done it in like a intergalactic space sort of setting and stuff like that, so they have to ground themselves a little bit. But yeah, I think these guys would be perfect for that, and especially with them being kind of chummy with Xbox as well. I think they're the perfect studio to revive something like Conquer. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's a good shout for sure. Yeah, I think Conquer was made by Rare though, right? Rare is obviously Rare being British studio. That might be, they'd have to get that right.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
good angle though, for sure. Yeah, well, that's High on Life. Yeah, super interesting with where that's all landed, because it's very much one of those games on social media at the moment, and people are reporting and having a good time. Like the Steam reviews are like 88 or something. Steam reviews are really high. But it's just those critic reviews, man, because of that subjective comedy. You know, I think it's arguably the most subjective part of the art palette. So that's probably one. Yeah. All right. I'm trying to think if there's anything else worth adding before we moved on to some other. I guess we've been playing Gunfire Reborn. Shall we touch on that?
Yeah, for sure. Actually, just before we do, Joaquin did say, quick aside, no show next week. Yeah, I believe we won't have a show next week because it's Christmas Day. It drops on Sunday, doesn't it?
No, yeah, we won't.
So yeah, no show next week, Joaquin. Yeah. But we've been playing some Gunfire Reborn. Got a couple mates on that, which was David's come in. What do you guys think about High on Life? You just missed the High on Life segment, David. No, we literally just talked about it for like 10 minutes.
It's like a 15-minute long segment. We like it. We're a bit confused about the polarization of the reviews. But I'd recommend going back and watching it on the record after. It's a good conversation. Yeah,
but yeah, overall we're pretty happy with it. And yeah, we feel like it was done a little bit dirty. What do you think of it? You been playing it? But yeah, on to Gunfire Reborn. Yeah, we've been playing that. Obviously that's been out like probably like a month or two now on Games Pass, maybe like 2 months or something
at
like
least.
that.
At least.
And it's like a cool little roguelike game that you can play co-op. And yeah, we just sort of hopped on that the other day, and we got a couple mates hooked on it, and yeah, it's really good fun. I have to admit, it didn't really suck me in, and I know you've been trying to get me on it, but obviously having that nudge and playing it with friends, yeah, man, it's pretty good. It's pretty damn good. I'm enjoying it.
It's good.
Yeah,
it's very polished. There's like plenty of characters, loads of unlockables, loads of different enemies. You know, the biomes are nice. It's got the really like nice, cool, cel shady art style. You know, very low on detail, but very, I guess, maybe complements the gameplay, because when you get into the later levels, there's so much shit going on. It kind of helps you there. But Yeah, loot-based roguelike. It's good stuff. If you're into roguelites, like big recommend. It's really good because it's been out for a while, I think, hasn't it, Tim? On like PC,
Yeah.
it's from a Chinese dev, and then this is like the first port to console, I believe.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's great. It runs at like stupid high frames, like 140 frames. When you're playing, I don't know why. I just don't even know 120. I don't have a 120 TV, so I don't benefit from that. But yeah, it goes really high.
Yeah, it does. It's proper smooth, but weirdly, that doesn't translate to other consoles either. Even how sort of simplistic the graphics are, because one of our friends is playing it on the Xbox One X, I think, so the
VCR.
previous gen, and
a 1X. Okay.
yeah, and it's he's like sub 30 frames sometimes playing this
That's
game.
so crazy.
Meanwhile, me and Deck are just cruising by at 140. And it's just saying how smooth it is. But yeah, it is a great time, and if you do like that sort of game, it's perfect to just jump on with your mates. Admittedly, I do think runs can last a little bit too long on that. You definitely do have to sit down and dedicate a decent chunk of time to it. Like, especially if you're actually starting to understand it and get better at it. Runs are like, when we hop on it, I think runs are like a minimum like an hour plus. Now just to do like a single run. I think we did one at like 1 a.m. the other night. We finished at like 3 a.m. So yeah, it can be pretty time intensive like that.
Yeah, I think roguelites can have that problem, can't they?
Yeah, but some other ones, like I guess that's why a lot of them aren't co-op, because like a lot of the other roguelites, Slay the Spire, Hades, Dead Cells, all that, you just pause, you save and quit, and you pick up again later, sort of thing. Whereas you can't really do that if you're playing it co-op online, and I think maybe that's why a lot of them choose to just be a solo experience. So you can just do that big run in like incremental chunks rather than I have to clear my diary for 2 to 3 hours to have a run with my friends.
Yeah. That's a fair shout, but it's good though. Really big recommend. Roguelite multiplayer games they do not exist. But even then, even as a standalone single player roguelite, it's really, really good. So recommend it. Good podcast game as well.
Yeah. Definitely.
All right. Let's move on to some of the other honorable mentions then, because we've racked up a bit of time talking about
We have, yeah.
the philosophy of 3D movies and high on life. Really quickly then, Insomniac, this is not news, but I just felt like it was worth pointing out. Insomniac announced in a tweet, of all places, that Spider-Man 2 is coming out next year. I don't know why they did it this way, and they didn't like put it in the Game Awards or something. Maybe again, it might be regulator fuckery that they're just trying to keep it on the low. But Spider-Man 2 is going to be, my game's going to be PlayStation's biggest game ever.
Yeah, the game's got a fucking slap. The game's got
Yeah.
both Spider-Mans in it and Venom.
And it's going to be synchronized with Spider-Man across the multiverse, the new one. Like, it's going to come out in the same quarter probably. So
yeah.
There's going to be so much transmedia benefit.
Yeah, because you saw in the trailer for that new Spider-Verse movie that the Insomniac Spider-Man was in it, wasn't it?
I was it. I had no idea.
Oh, okay, yeah. People like
Pretty
freeze
cool.
framed and saw that. Yeah, the Insomniac Spider-Man's in there. Yeah, so there's like
that's awesome.
there's like some like actual crossover into like cinema media, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, but that game's going to be Sony's biggest game ever. I think God of War has broke like sales in terms of speed. I don't think it'll outsell the first Spider-Man. Maybe I'm wrong. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. But regardless, I'd put my bum on the line about Spider-Man 2 being their biggest selling exclusive. I don't know. It's because like Pokemon just broke records. I don't think Spider-Man will do Pokemon numbers, but I think it will be the next best thing.
Yeah,
it's like the next biggest IP.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think that will be the biggest. I don't know. It's hard to say, actually. I was going to say maybe the biggest selling game of that year in 2023, but it only being to a single platform. Right. It probably still will be. Yeah, and it'd be interesting to see how quick they chuck that on PC as well, because PlayStation are getting very, very quick at doing their PC ports now. So
yeah, That's right. Joaquin says in the PS1 Activision Spider-Man trailer as well. That's hilarious.
Yeah, they've literally just got like every Spider-Man ever.
It's just 3
conceived.
pixels.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, yeah, the reason it was obviously interesting is because really after God of War, PlayStation don't have a release date on anything. Like their schedule, they don't have that much stuff announced. Like, we know Wolverine's somewhere off in the distance. Death Stranding 2 obviously just got announced somewhere off in the distance, and now we know Spider-Man 2 is next year, which is, it gives competition for Xbox games. Which is good. But I think Sony has more up its sleeve. They usually do. They're quite good with their content cadence. I just think
they're staying quiet because of everything going on. I think like when the dust starts to settle, they'll just be like release date.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Tim, Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster, the collection, the series thing with like it's not coming to Xbox. Are you surprised? Are you shocked? Are you mad?
I'm actually kind of mad. What is this? The Pixel remaster? For what?
Yeah, it's a Pixel remaster, which has it's like a collection, a bunch of the Final Fantasies as Pixel remasters, and it's skipping Xbox. It's just coming to Switch and PlayStation. Yes,
like the actual OG ones.
Yes.
Oh, that's actually so sad.
Why does Square Enix hate us?
I've genuinely been wanting, I was on my Switch the other day going through the eShop to see if there are any sales for some of the older Final Fantasy games. Oh, that's actually really sad.
Yeah. I mean, so you can play it on your Switch.
So it's on Switch, is it? And it's on PlayStation?
Switch and PS4. PS4. Square Enix are honestly a bunch of so useless, so fucking useless. Why do you hate money? Why?
I mean, it will be PS5 as well. It's just there's just no PS5 benefits to it, right? So why sell it as a PS5 game is probably why they've done that.
I mean, yeah, I guess so.
But and it's am I reading this correct that it will be at $75?
$75? That's more expensive than a AAA game.
Fucking crazy. So let me have a look at this actually while you carry on. This has piqued my interest.
Okay. Well, don't get too sad. I really don't want to have to edit you out crying on stream.
Shut up. Well, I always cry off stream. Okay. I'll say that.
Do you know what? I'll look at Carl. I'll look at comments while you do that. Look at the chat. David says a Game Pass tier with ads is probably not going to do well due to the fact you'll be forced ads. David, yeah, we've got that on the lineup. It's a really interesting topic with Game Pass and a possible budget tier. Well, we will get round to that. And the whole thing about $70 games. Yeah, well, I think this is it's all lined up because Phil spoke about holding price for this holiday, but I think next year, if this and this lines up with a possible showcase in 23 as the title of the video is. If that is all true, I reckon we get announcements for everything, around that time. I reckon they give us. If there is actually a showcase, then it all makes sense. If there isn't, it doesn't, and Xbox are being stupid. But if they give release dates for Redfield, God damn it, Redfield, Starfield, I don't know what's wrong with it. Hellblade with some gameplay, Avowed with some gameplay, and then let's say Compulsion reveal with a release date. If they can slap those 5 down for a showcase, that's big. And Forza, maybe as well. And 3 or 4 of them are this year, that's big. And then after the show, they say, look, we're raising Game Pass prices, but here's a budget tier with ads if you want for accessibility, and also prior game prices are going up, and they've already announced that, so they don't need to retread that. But we will come round because this is a really interesting conversation. Tim, what have you found about Pixel remasters?
First 6 games, so it's Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are being remastered for that, and apparently they've all been done. So the Pixel remaster versions of the first 6 Final Fantasy games are currently only available for PC, iOS, and Android. So they actually have already been released, these Pixel remasters. So the 1, 2, and 3 launched on the 28th of July 2021, followed by the 4th and the 5th on November 10th, 2021.
Oh.
And then, so they're actually just fucking bundling these games together that have already been released on PC, iOS, Android, putting it on another platform and charging $75 fucking dollars and skipping my platform.
Yes.
That's absurd, dude. I've never had more of a kick to the nuts than this. Why are they charging so much for games that have already released that you're just porting to a new system? Oh my god. Oh
Yeah.
shit, dude. That is, I mean, I kind of want to play them, but I'm not fucking spending this money. Like, I'm waiting until that shit goes on sale. I'm not, just out of principle. I'm not doing that.
Square Enix. Oh, we're disappointed to report that our Pixel Remaster collection. Oh, did it? Yeah, 75 quid. Did it?
I wonder
Oh, that's
why.
weird. That I can't
That's-
fathom why that might be.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. Wow.
No idea what that publishing wing is doing. They're so stupid.
Because that sort of shit's really
They're so
cool,
out of
man.
touch.
Like that's like a really cool thing to bundle these together and to remaster these old games, which are absolute classics in the RPG genre. Like,
Yeah.
really invented the genre, really. Like, and to bundle those together and sell that for like a nice price, that shit would sell like hotcakes, man. I'd buy that. But fucking $75, or like, I don't know what that translates to in pounds, like 65, 60-ish pounds.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Crazy, dude.
It is crazy.
Absolutely nuts.
All right. Well, let's move past this to points. Something a bit more exciting, which is around Xbox's first-party exclusive Ara History Untold.
Let's go.
Getting a technical alpha in January. It's playable, and I've got some screenshots in the notes, Tim. Up to you if you're able to share screen or anything like that.
I think I can.
Just as a reminder, Ara it's being made by Oxide Games. This is an exclusive, so it'll be Game Pass. I don't know if they've said if it will be coming to
Screenshots
console and PC at the same time. Yeah, they are, aren't they? I don't know what. I think it's because I just screen capped them, so they look like ass. Sorry, but you get a general feel for the game. And from what the reception that I'm hearing, is that this is looking quite good for the type of game that it is. And like I said, yes, bear in mind the screenshots are like turd quality here. So just imagine this is nice and up-res to 4K. There's a lot of detail going on here for a strategy game. I like kind of interested. In players to advance. Just read this stuff. Technical Alpha 2 will feature more of the game for players to test out, including some of the most highly requested features from the first Technical Alpha, which was closed. There will be more of the game available to play, more players to talk to. This is a multiplayer. This is a game multiplayer.
I don't know. I don't really know much about this
This is
game.
a bit awkward. No, don't worry. And more time to play. And we're especially excited to announce that Act in History will be available, allowing players to advance through technology until just before the Industrial Revolution. Coastal buildings and navies are now included. Perhaps most importantly, maps will have more variety, and procedurally generated maps will be accessible. So if you remember, like the CGI trailer of this was really funny because it looked like going through time, and then there was like an Egyptian like structure, and there was a drone. Like a sentinel, like a Halo sentinel flying around. They're like, oh, this is what's going on here. I like these sort of games that have this, like, not only like alternate history, but also where you advance through time. I don't know.
Yeah.
I used to play games like in my browser when I was younger that were like this.
Yeah, it's just cool.
So,
and it keeps like the gameplay quite fresh, I think, as well. You're not just like doing the same like sim strategy, like as times advance, you get new units and new buildings and stuff like that, and technology advances. Yeah, I've definitely always been a fan of that from this sort of games to do that. Yeah, man, this looks interesting. This looks pretty crispy. It'll be interesting to see how this sort of works. I still think these sort of strategy games, big Age of Empires thing, it'll be quite interesting to see how these control on a controller. because they're
Yes.
definitely mouse keyboard kind of games. You need a lot of buttons. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how clunky this will be operating this on a controller. But yeah, I'm definitely interested to find out, to play it.
And this is one of many, hopefully first party. Well, this isn't first party, but one of many Xbox games in 23. I'm assuming this is looking at a 23 alpha early in the year, or maybe this is an alpha isn't a beta, so maybe they'll do another alpha and then another beta, and then actually it ends up coming out in early 24. We'll see, but it's kind of, to me, looking like a late 23 game.
Yeah.
So we'll go from there, Rick, but looking good.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, so you can sign up with the through the insider program, it looks like, if anyone did want to get their hands on that. That's how you get it.
Good shout. Okay, well, we've got some of our headlines to come round to, and I wanted to start with Halo, Tim. Do you remember that game, little indie game?
Halo 3? Which one?
Halo 4?
What was the most recent one? Halo
9.
Reach?
Halo 0.
Halo 0.
Halo Battle Squadrons.
Battle for...
Halo Onion Rings.
Imagine if that was it. It's like the big plot twist is they just keep zooming out and out and out, and it ends up being onion rings on a fat man's plate.
Fat man's plate.
And you're playing as like germs because the food's been sitting out for like the
One of the most powerful germ.
Yeah, the Covenants are just germs, bacteria.
Yeah, it's just the plot of Osmosis Joe, basically.
Oh, dude,
you're an antibiotic.
Yeah.
So the reason I'm bringing Halo up, you might think, wow, what a shill, just trying to bring it out for no reason. You'd be wrong. Tim. They had a community live stream for 3 hours, and they spoke about a lot of things, a lot of small things, right? But also a lot about the season 3, which is coming up. And, so they had the winter update at the end of November, I think, and that had some new maps. They got Forge in, they got a custom game browser in, and that's all looking good. It doesn't seem to have caused the explosion that some were thinking it would. I mean, I wasn't expecting it to do that because Forge is released into a beta. Co-op campaign, that's another thing, co-op campaign. But it's definitely gotten people talking again, and it's changing sentiment. At this live stream, they obviously doubled down. They said, yep, so season 3 is coming in March. I think it's March. So we're able, and we're now feeling confident in being able to have that quarterly cadence of seasons, so every 3 months, which is great.
Yeah.
And so they showed off a bit more about the Bandit, the new gun. They showed off the Shroud screen, the new equipment that's coming as well. They showed off the 2 new dev maps, but then they also showed off a dev-made Forge map that's going to be coming in as well. So they seem to be now, they're like supplementing their updates of dev maps with 1 or 2 Forge maps as well. So it's like helping them speed up the content delivery. They showed off some of the new armor cores that are coming, one of the fracture ones, which looks very cool. It's straight out of Crisis. Looks very cool.
Sweet.
And the new mainline one that's in the battle pass. Career progression is coming either next it sounds like it's coming at some point next season as well, or at the beginning of season 4. So yeah, it's just a lot of good news. That there was base colors to all the cores. Just the standard base ones, so people felt like there was a bit more of a color, and because on the cores you unlocked, you didn't have those base colors like you did on the Mark 5, the base. Do you know what I mean? Like the
Mark 5 is the base,
yeah. So they unlocked them for all of them now. So there's more base colors, and they're available on all the cores as well. So there's lots of things like time. I didn't have time to sit through the whole content, so I've just plucked what I could, but there's lots of things like that, like quality of life, work on desync, controller, fiddling, things like that. So anyway, what's the thought here? Where are we at? Like I said, they're feeling more, they're confident now that they're able to hit this 3 monthly cadence of content with new weapons, new equipment, new maps, features, etc., battle pass. So what are the thoughts now?
finally.
Fucking finally, am I
Yeah,
right?
fucking finally is literally just my thoughts behind it. And also, I'll believe it when I see it a little bit. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely it's a good sign. And I like that they're coming alive again. They're coming out of their little fucking dank caves and they're starting to talk to people and actually try and sort of convince us to come back and to be like, we're good now, guys. We've got this cadence coming, decent content, updates and drops on a consistent basis. It's exactly what the game needs, so I'm happy to hear it. Definitely, because Halo is definitely, it's never something I'm gonna fully bury. It's just a little bit underground for the moment. And I don't really
Yes,
have
that's
any
right.
plans on coming back to it for quite some time until, like I said, I'll see it when I believe it. But yeah, exciting, definitely exciting. Because this game always has had the legs to do really well. It just needed stuff in it to keep players coming back. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
But
The fact that we had 2 maps in a year was fucked up. That was like
Straight.
that's criminal.
yeah, it's straight fucked. Yeah, it's just absolutely awful. Just all the content updates really have been really subpar for Halo Infinite
Just
since
so
its
slow.
launch. Yeah, just
So
slow.
ridiculous.
And even when they came out, they've always been, they're kind of half baked and they're kind of not finished, and it's just like you can tell that they want to hit these deadlines, and then they give us like betas for like Forge and stuff like that. Just try and keep
Yeah.
players somewhat interested and keep this
Try
game
and get something
alive.
out.
Like it really is some last ditch effort to try and just make sure this game stays on everyone's radar. But yeah, I mean, I don't know like anything about these upcoming things. What is the shroud screen equipment? What even is that?
Oh, it's the new equipment. Hang on, I've got a good link here. Let you in Discord. Maybe you put it on the stream. It's the new equipment. Yeah, so it's like it's essentially a smoke. It's essentially a Halo smoke. So it's like a dome or a sphere that you can't see through, you can't see out of, and when you're in it, it masks you from radar.
Okay.
So there's, I think it's quite interesting for a Halo game. I don't think there's been anything like that. You could obviously block sight lines with it. You could use it to cover, like to move around a corner and nobody, because it blocks you from the radar. Yeah, I think it's just quite interesting, and I'm more interested to see how this interacts with the sandbox, because something which I think, like, just theory crafting, works like even into something like the pulse, whatever it's called, the pulse dart. That's like a really boring bit of equipment. It does nothing.
Yeah.
It's not good, but with this added, it now gives it another reason, right? It gives it more of a purpose.
Yeah.
So I think there's things like that. There's like kind of layering. I'm not sure, because, and this is something else that was bothering me as well. You know how in Halo 3 with the bubble shield, it has like a physical base, and that base could be moved with like grav lifts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if this has like a base. I think it, by the looks of it, pops and it can't be moved.
Yeah.
Which isn't like the end of the world, but it just depends. That's what I mean. I like into the sandbox, because the grapple and the repulsor are like triple S tier in that regard, but everything else kind of isn't.
Yeah. Plus, it just
so
makes
that's
for
my
like
thoughts.
more inventive plays and stuff like that. Like I remember throwing like bubble
That's
shields
right.
like into grav lifts and then flying shortly after it, so I landed like with a shield, like surprise
right.
people. Like, and yeah, it just, yeah, this is just kind of less utility to it, as kind of the way it is now. But then equally, this one you can fire out your wrist like further and stuff like that, where you can do that with a bubble shield. So like maybe it'd be kind of cool. But like this would be cool to like bounce it off like a wall, like into a room, and then you just like push the room like shrouded in smoke or something like that. If you can't like bounce it off a wall or something like that, it's quite disappointing, to be honest. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it plays. But yeah, I do agree. It'd be quite cool if it did have like a base and work similar, so it could interact with everything in the
But on
in
the
the
flip side,
environment.
you could stick it to a vehicle, stick it to a ghost, and then you could just be a floating smoke.
Yeah, but then again, it doesn't look like it's something that will attach. It looks like something that you'd fire at a ghost, it would explode, but then you would just drive the ghost out of it. I don't think you would stay
Stays there.
on the ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least that's the way I'm viewing it. So again, quite disappointing. But
Did you see that GIF in the chat?
of it
Like the
being
Discord for you.
fired, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's how I'm feeling about it. I think it's good. It looks good idea. It looks like a good idea for the game. But I think for it to really complement the rest of the gameplay, it needs to have these kind of sandboxy elements. So that's my only reservation. Same as you. But I'm not going to complain about more equipment and more guns being put into the game. I think they need to have. Hopefully they have more on the lineup as well. Hopefully every season they have new gun, 2 new cores, at least 2 new maps, new modes. And then all of a sudden you're looking at actually very healthy seasons. Because I think the other side of this is that if we remember, how long ago was it now? Back in maybe July or something. Bonnie Ross left. There was a management shakeup. They had 3 people taking over what Bonnie Ross was previously doing, and whether this is related to that or not. Either way, it seems that they're finally on that content cadence, and I think they need really a year of solidly putting out good seasons with good content, and to get people re-involved, because by that point, it has a good track record. People can look at it and they can say, "Oh, I played this when it came out. And I had a really good time." I heard. It got a bit bland, but now it's had a year's, like more than that actually, 2 years worth of updates, and I'm hearing really good things about the Forge, about the customs, about the campaign, about all the updates, and you can boot it up and you can see this like catalog of all the seasons you've missed, season 1 through to 7 of the battle passes, and I think that's where the game needs to be at. So the cadence is great, but it needs to have a history behind it, like you say, like you said, it's a bit of believe it when I see it, like it needs to happen first. We've had enough.
Oh, they've said shit like this before, and then it just gets delayed or it just doesn't come. So I'm just skeptical at this point, and I don't think that's toxic. To be that way, because they've let us down several times. So
no,
we'll wait and see. I'm always rooting for Halo Infinite. I'm always in its corner, but I just don't play it, and I won't play it until it gets to a point where it needs to be. But I'll happily pick it back up.
Until it gets
does. Yeah,
that's right. Until it gets to a point where it's competitive with its contemporary.
Yeah,
like I'm playing Overwatch, and Overwatch is putting out seasons. So that's pretty much it. I loved. The problem was that its service just sucked, and if Overwatch had the same problem right now, the same thing, I would have fallen off. Like if I wasn't getting a new season until May next year, I'd be like, I'm just going to put it down until they've got this all sorted out. It's just kind of how it works. Even if you really enjoy the gameplay, you need something to shake it up.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, we're on to some spicy stuff, Tim. Surrounding Game Pass. Oh, I wanted to make a timestamp. Where are we at? 107. Is that 108? 7:15. Oh God. That's all right. There else. So around Game Pass, Tim, and this bundles into a wider conversation about a possible show early next year, which was there's smoke. There's smoke, and I've baited you in with the thumbnail, with the low effort thumbnail, maybe. But there's smoke. There is actual smoke. So how I want to start this conversation. That there was, and I think we spoke about this sometime maybe last year, that there was Microsoft had patented the ability to put ads in games or something like that. It was it was there somewhere.
Yeah, I remember talking about it.
And there's been that's right. And there's been another piece of technology patented around putting personalized ads in games. So really, really similar, but like just to give you a bit of details, the technology intends to display overlaid video content personalized for a player and real time concurrently with the gameplay without changing the features within the particular video game. The technology, and this is straight from the document, the technology allows seamless integration of the content into a particular video game so as to not cause any intrusion for the player and to provide a natural video game experience. There's more, but that's kind of the gist of it. The personalized content may not be restricted to the video game environments, but may also be featured on in-game characters and objects. You know, Death Stranding originally had a lot of product placement. A lot of people spoke about that, and I don't know if that's just because it was kind of Kojima's, you know, his whole thing is that he loves a lot of Western media, and maybe he was just doing that, or if it was actually sponsored ads to help fund the game, or if it was just both. You know, it's a happy.
Yeah.
So we've already done this conversation. So this is part one. Bear that in your little note. Discuss it as it kind of all comes together. The second part is that there was a recent survey sent out to some Xbox users asking how they'd feel about an additional tier of Games Pass. If real, the purported tier would cost $3 a month, so a lot cheaper than it currently is. You know, it's just under half the price. But it would have some limitations. For example, first-party Xbox games would come 6 months down the line. They wouldn't be day one. And it would have ads. The idea of how it would work is that the ads would roll as you boot the game up.
Okay.
I think something else mentioned in the email was, the technical strategy was that it would, if the game could detect cutscenes, it would play an ad before a cutscene. So let's bear this all in mind. We've got the possibility of Microsoft looking at personalized ads to put in games somehow, somewhere. And then they've also got a possible cheaper tier of Game Pass where they're considering using ads to fund the cheap tier. Thoughts?
Okay. Part one, I don't really have any issues with this. I think this was how I talked about it last time as well in my argument, where I don't really have an issue with ads if they're seamlessly integrated, don't pull me from the experience, and are not too intrusive. I'm really not that fussed having ads in the game, and if that's gonna like fund the game, the development and everything to overall, you know, potentially have a better game just overall, right, putting ads in and stuff like that, I'll gladly take that sacrifice as long as it's not too intrusive. So yeah, I don't really have an issue with part one, definitely. I don't know, how do you feel about it?
I guess it's just kind of an interesting thing because games are really the only media that has managed to elude like ads for the longest time. Like we get them on dashboards, yeah, but like you know, it's not the same as like when you're watching a YouTube video is just, you know, bad example, or like the movies or music where something will be playing and then it will count down. You know what I mean? And like, you know, it's perfectly feasible that at some point in the future, big AAA games come out free with ads or full price without. And, you know, free with ads, you do like every 15 minutes, it gives you a little countdown and then it breaks for an ad. Do you know? I think that would be a bit of a DRM problem as well. I think because you'd have to be connected to the internet to get the ads for it to all work. Just like you get on the app, you know, on like app stores, you get, you know, you can access like quite a lot of good apps, really. But you get, you know, experience gets deteriorated a bit by ads, and you can pay if you want that to stop. I wouldn't be surprised if we get that at some point. Do I like it? I mean,
it just depends on how intrusive it is. If it literally stops you in your tracks for like 5 to 10 seconds or something like that, as you have to like skip the ad or like watch it or something like that. But if it's just happening in like the background of a game, like on like a billboard or something like that, you know, it's just like seamlessly integrated, like actually into the world. It really depends on the intensity of it, really.
Yeah.
because anything that breaks immersion is fucked in video games. That's what you don't want. That it's like why you have the ads before a cinema, before the movie starts, and before, like, actually YouTube does do it during, but like it's so not to break the immersion that's being built up and all that. Like that would ruin games, in my opinion, which was the main issue I had with part 2 of what you were saying with the Games Pass tier with ads.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, well, I suppose, yeah, okay, well, let's move on to Pass, like, because this is, to my understanding, this is exactly what Netflix did like 6 months ago, right? They raised their prices for all of their tiers, but as a, like, kind of a, compromise, they were like, here's a cheaper tier, it's budget, it's dead cheap, but you're going to get ads. You're going to get ads in this to help fund it. And I don't actually know how, it wasn't received all that well, because they're pushing their prices up for it, and they already, Netflix have been quite aggressive with their price increases, so that's I think really why they haven't earned much goodwill. But I wonder how successful that tier has been. Like, I wonder, I just don't know. Like, in my head, it seems like a good idea. Like, for sure, there's some people that don't mind ads because it's not their, they watch Netflix every now and then, buffs. In the same way that I think this low cost Game Pass tier would be targeting those same people who play games every now and then, would gift it as a cheap present. I think as long as it doesn't fuck, and that's the thing, as long as it doesn't fuck with the hardcore base, like us or listeners, as long as it doesn't, as long as we can still use Game Pass uninterrupted and that price isn't getting like hiked. I'm assuming that there's a Game Pass price hike coming with this, if this is real. Then that's fine. Like, I don't have any problem with that. Like, if you're just making an accessible tier with ads for people who are less involved with the gaming community, less in that sphere, by all means, go for it. And I'm sure those people won't mind having ads because they're used to it. It'll probably be mostly younger kids, right? Or maybe people who are just used to having ads interrupt. It used to be, before subscription services trumped cable boxes, that was, shows would just stop. Your show would just stop for an advert. So I imagine it'd be largely. What are your thoughts?
I think my thoughts are relatively similar to yours, in the sense of, if there is still that tier that we can have, that hopefully doesn't shoot up in price too much, that allows us to have the experience that we're used to. We pay a bit more of a premium, a little bit more than obviously this tier, but we get to have our uninterrupted gaming, no ads, we get our first party exclusives on the release date, that sort of thing. It doesn't hurt us too much. Then I'm completely happy with a tier like this existing for people who don't want to spend as much money or are more casual, and, like you said, don't mind having ads integrated. It really is not up my alley personally. And if this was being announced as just like an overall price cut, but everyone was forced into it, I'd be pretty upset. Because like, especially when when you boot up a game and you get like an ad or something like that doesn't bother me too much. But when, was it something you said about, like, when if it registered the game having cutscenes, it'd try and play an ad before that?
I think that it's mentioned in the document.
That would be absolutely awful. That would be, oh my god, I couldn't think of anything more immersion breaking.
I mean,
just imagine,
man, because they're like,
just imagine, it'd be fucking awful. You're playing like God of War or something. I know it's a terrible example, but like a single player game, and you go through the combat section, and then it just enters like a cutscene, this character that you fought your way to or something, and then you get a fucking ad roll for something, and then it goes into the cutscene. Oh my god, Jesus, that would be bad.
I mean, I'm just trying to think, like, because we had this conversation before, but maybe we're a bit more enlightened now, but I'm trying to think of like I don't know what would be better, because you spoke about
breaking, but honestly, like if I saw like buy a Microsoft Surface now on a billboard every 10 minutes, I don't know if that's more immersion breaking than the game just saying you're gonna have an ad in 10 seconds, cutting to an ad and then putting me back in the game and me being like, okay, I'm back in the game now. I can like re-immerse. Do you know what I mean?
I don't
Rather
know,
than being
to
like
me, it's-
steadily like, is that fake? Is that real? Is that fake? I can't, like it's kind of like, to me, like having a like the ads before a movie. Maybe this is a bad analogy, but like rather than being like I guess I in my mind the way I'm thinking about it is I'd prefer to have like know that what I'm playing is uninterfered with, and then have an ad shoved down my throat, and then go back to being re-immersed, rather than being like, I don't know why that character just spoke about an energy drink. Like, was that an ad or was that part of the game? Like, do you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess again, it's just how intrusive it is. But I don't know. From like looking at it from this perspective, that we don't know much information, I definitely say the latter is worse in my opinion. Like just playing a game and you could be completely immersed, and then it just gives you like an ad countdown or something. That shit would trigger me. I wouldn't want that. And yeah, I mean, and yeah, to me, this whole like $3 a month, you get your first party games 6 months later coming into Games Pass, and you get ads. To me, this obviously doesn't seem worth it. Being the sort of gamer I am, the hardcore gamer I am. But yeah, as we both said,
So hardcore, man.
Yeah, so ridiculously hardcore. It's unreal. I think, yeah, I don't have an issue with this existing because it's going to be benefiting someone that's not me. And I'm not just sitting there just like, it's all about me. Give me value. Give me this. I understand there are people in different situations to me. So I don't have an issue with this existing at all. No.
Yeah. And this is like, this strikes me as when we spoke about PS Plus, their whole thing and having their different tiers. I can't remember what it's called, like basic.
Essential.
I literally can't remember. Premium is the top one?
Like essential, premium.
Essential, is it?
No, essential plus premium. I think it was.
Sounds right to me.
Kind of impossible.
I said that. Yeah, that it's I like that simplicity of it. It's like nice and streamlined. Xbox like, Game Pass is a bit more difficult to explain to someone. And to explain the benefits to them as well. Like and that's the thing. Like when you say to someone, these are the reasons Game Pass is better than PS Plus. Largely, that's still the sentiment in the gaming community, and even like the wider. Like when I speak to people in the wild, like people generally hold that view as well. Like I know some people. The normies, yeah.
What a weird way to say public. Speak to people in public. In the wild. You live in a safari.
Animals. The fucking animals, a lot of them. Yes, I think Xbox could do a better job with being streamlined, because when you try to explain to someone, but all Xbox games like day and date, the first party, they look at you like you're talking gibberish. Like, what do you mean party?
You have to like break it down.
This isn't my first party. Yeah,
you have to break it down. I've done that a few times. Yeah.
There's an audience out there that wants a game subscription, but just wants games. They just want video games. It doesn't matter what really is on them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where this comes in. Those big blockbusters are delayed 6 months, so they can still buy them if they want to. But you get all of these games like High on Life and maybe like Plague Tale, and you get these big games in that service that give you value, especially for like $3, like £2.50 or maybe it's £3. That's really nothing. That's still very good value. And then they can have that kind of catalog, those 3 tiers and whatever they call it, silver, gold, platinum, whatever it is. And then that's good, and that's nice and streamlined, because at the moment the whole Game Pass Ultimate, it just doesn't, I don't know, there's just not much like marketing like synergy there, it just doesn't vibe.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's a space for this. Yeah, definitely.
So we'll see how this kind of develops. we're pure in speculation territory at the moment, but like this all rolls into like I would argue kind of the biggest talking point today, which is around an early an Xbox game showcase in early 2023. And we kind of discussed this a bit after coming off the back of the Game Awards, and us sitting there shitting ourselves because nothing happened. And then Aaron Greenberg, went to Twitter and he said, "You won't have to wait long. 23 is a big year for us." So that kind of gave us some hints and teasers. And then over the Xbox 2 podcast, Jez Corden and Rand both said that they've been hearing, on the inside that there is something maybe going on early January. So I kind of wanted to take the opportunity to discuss that and what we might see, because to me, them not having an appearance at the Game Awards tells me that they've got big plans for this year. Whether it's on the first party front or it's on the software front. We've seen that they're like reevaluating their dashboard, for example. I feel like they're mini soft launch going on again this year. That's really kind of how I'm, and then if there is like a whole other Game Pass tier, then maybe they rebrand it. So let's start with the basics and the easy stuff. Tim, an Xbox Game Pass, an Xbox Game Showcase. Let's say it's in January. It's on early January, late January, sorry. What would you feasibly like to like? What could be there for you?
Obviously, I think you'll see appearances from Starfield, Redfall, with them coming out
With release dates.
with release dates, like because they're coming out relatively like first half of the year, right? Supposedly, yeah. So that would be good to see more of those and release dates. Yeah. I'd probably quite like to see Hellblade 2. I think that would be a cool one to see there, and quite likely to see there as well, especially with its lack of appearance in the Game Awards. You'd like to think that it's just round the corner. And yeah, maybe just some like juicy tidbits, not so much like, like here's things to look forward to for things like Avowed and maybe Fable, just to keep that carrot on the string a little bit, rather than and like State of Decay as well, not necessarily like cramming a release date for us, but just letting us know that these things are still in the works, because I as we discussed, I don't think we'll probably get like 3 to 4 probably like big AAA first party releases in 2023, which will be Starfield, Redfall, and what's the other one I said? I don't know.
Hellblade?
I said something else, but Hellblade. Yeah. So these are the sort of things we might see in 23. So it'd be nice to see the carrot dangled for the things that we're not likely to see in 23 as well. But yeah, and then and I think, like you said, it'd be quite interesting to see like a soft launch, and definitely an overhaul with the dashboard would be really cool. Like here's an update, but this is what we have planned for the dashboard as well moving forward, like sort of thing. This is where we want to take it. We want to bring these back. We want to do this, it would be nice to see a sort of little bit of a soft launch on a hardware perspective, for that sort of thing as well. And just stuff like that. I think that's probably what
Interesting.
I'd like to see.
I think, and I think the bit of nuance, other than us
Some
wish
controller
listing what
stuff as
to be
well.
a general. Yeah, maybe some controller stuff. By God, and a better controller, that would be just wonderful.
Yeah, that would be really good.
Maybe with some more features, like we need to bear in mind that E3 is going to be in June or July, and so they're not going to upload the clip.
No.
I don't think, unless they're really overhauling strategy to have. I mean, we know Phil likes E3, so he's never going to pull out of that. But unless they're overhauling their strategy to have like 2 or 3 showcases a year, where 2 of them are Xboxes, and then they have like a maybe more of a small to medium presence at E3. And there's something to be said about that strategy, because like for example, Game Awards is a massive platform now. They had like 10 million live viewers. Like that's massive. That's more than the Oscars get. Like it's massive, and not that many people watch the
Yeah.
Oscars live, so maybe it's a bad example. But you know, for what it is, it's a massive platform now, and you get more eyes on something like that. So it makes me think that if they are doing their own thing, it's like it's more of a they're wanting to send more of a brand message. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they're like,
yeah, I know
this
what
is
you mean.
Xbox. This is Xbox 23. This is what you can expect from us. And you know, if they're confident in what they're going to show and the lineup, then that will generate word of mouth. And it's a video that could be referred back to for the next 6 months or even for the year of like, this is what they've said is coming this year. Like, look at these 5 release dates of Starfield, of Redfall, of Hellblade, of Forza, and then maybe Arrow or something else. And that's just the first party, Xbox Game Studio stuff / publishing. That's not including any third party or Game Pass edition. So, I really like the idea of having this early show. I guess if it is true, I don't want to be getting my expectations too high simply because I know there's going to be an E3 as well. And like I said, the only wrinkle to that is there's a third show if there's another show. So because that would be a complete overhaul of how they're approaching Showcase and their programming. But we know that they've brought multiple people on board, right? We spoke about this in the last year to manage this sort of stuff. So I think it's perfectly feasible that we're going to see an Xbox approach their programming in quite a different way now. Whether they do it in XO20, they call it XO23, or they do a direct. All they need to do is just treat it like they have done for their showcases for the last, because the format for them has been really good. What we don't want is a 2-hour-long conference with Twitch personalities trying to be funny to devs who just want to get some sleep. I don't want that. And like then 30 seconds of CGI and then back to a Twitch personality trying to be funny again. Like I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's not what I want out of a game showcase.
Yeah, it's kind of cringe. Yeah, I'd rather them just be like bam, 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 bam. Yeah, like essentially, like you said, like emptying a clip and just making it sort of worth our time, not just like wasting our time and dragging it out. Just give us like just give us some dates, some updates, a sizzle reel, call it a show. Like I don't need any fucking, I don't want any live music. I don't want Ludwig on stage dancing. I don't want any of this shit. just
flossing on stage.
Just give me that sort of stuff. But yeah, no, it's quite exciting to know that something's just around the corner in Jan, though. Definitely.
Well, could be.
I mean, we work for Xbox.
And then,
my dad works at Xbox, so
my dad is Xbox. Yeah,
my dad is Phil.
Yeah, my son is Phil.
Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just because and this is the thing. Like Matt Booty and Phil must be like rubbing their little greasy little fingers together, looking at all the stuff that they've got behind the scenes. And it just depends how they want to approach these reveals. Like we've had a lot of CGI trailers and not very much gameplay, not very many release dates for a lot of games. Whether that's I still think like something like State of Decay is a ways off. I think that's probably one of the furthest back out of all of them. But then there's things like NXIL's first-person steampunk RPG. There's Compulsion Games' new game. Have Double Fine been working on something else? Do Arcane have something else ready to show? Deathloop released like 2 years ago. They might have a CGI trailer. Yeah, right. Does ZeniMax have something else to show? What about Contraband? What about Fable? And the list. What about Coalition's new game? And the list goes on and on and on. And like this isn't stuff that has been in that hasn't been in development for a long time. We've been talking about this since 2018. I makes me want to be sick. I always want to be fucking sick. And so some of this stuff has got to be. It's cooking.
We need some updates. Yeah.
We need some updates. And so that's what if the to instill confidence in the year 23, I think we get teasers. I think they give us firm release dates of obviously Redfall, Starfield, and then I don't think they commit to release dates for everything else, but I think they with maybe Hellblade, maybe Forza, if we're lucky, Avowed, and then it's like, come to E3, June, you can see the rest. Do you know what I mean? And then everyone's like, the hype train is built, and everyone's like, you know, and they've maybe committed to a 20. But that's kind of what I'm feeling. I like the idea of being like, it's going to be a big year, boys. We're sorry, we fucked up last year. It wasn't right, but we did it for you. You know, it had to be good. Games had to be good.
We fucked up for you. Yeah, definitely.
It, so, yeah.
I think that's what they need to set. Which is kind of on lines to what I said as well. With just getting some more information, hard release dates on a few, and then just make sure that carrot's still dangling for the rest. Definitely. Yeah,
I can see Joaquin said Minecraft Legends and Forza Motorsport 2023. I don't. Forza Motorsport had a confirmed. I don't think it has. I didn't think so. I think that's just like really confident speculation, like, you know, in how the schedules are lined up. Maybe I'm wrong. Minecraft Legends, that's another one I forgot about. Of course, it's technically a first party game, but Mojang do their thing. But yeah, I mean, for sure, it's something they can add to their slate of like still day one Game Pass. I'm really hoping that they have something. They can show off stuff this year, which is going to be surprising and exciting. That's all it is, because I think we've been seeing kind of similar stuff. Like we've been talking about Red and Starfield for a bit too long now, and it's like, okay, we're ready for these. We're ready to see these games in their entirety, and for them. Let's get people excited for a year like PlayStation have had, where we've got like, you know, we've got like Returnal, we've got God of War, we've got Horizon. Yeah, those are pretty decent year. It's time. We're there now.
We are. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Me and you, Tim. Me and you against the world. We're going to do it.
Maybe they'll get us to host the January show. Maybe you'll see us there.
Yeah, maybe. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? We can be like the Ant and Dec of the Xbox world.
Or they just pick one of us,
suck,
and
don't they? They would not pick you.
What, dude?
They would not pick you.
Why are you so
your
confident in
eyebrows
that
too
statement?
big.
Fuck you, man. What?
Your eyebrows are too big. Like, so I don't make the rules. Don't fucking get back. You get back in your seat.
They're not that big. Fuck you, man.
No, they're not. I'm joking. I'm joking. Yeah, great. That's good. I really hope this is true. I really hope this is, and I just like, I need them to start getting this right with these showcases. I think that, you know, they've been good, but like we have repeatedly complained about them just having one info dump and then just fucking off for the next 12 months.
Yeah, if not longer. Yeah.
Yeah. So it comes back to this idea of like, it's a soft launch for the Series X and for Xbox Game Studios. That's what really it is. So fingers crossed. Anything else to add, Tim? I feel like there's something else we're missing here, but if we're done, when we're done.
I don't think so. Like you said, a controller update would be nice. I'd like to see a new idea, even if it's not like solid. They're just like, you know, we're looking to put a fucking screen in for our controllers and do this and,
and play ads for you there.
Kind of stupid. They kind of need to show like an actual trailer if they're going to do something like that. But that would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. All right, then. Well, let's move on to our next story, which is around Starfield. So there was a small Starfield update, Tim. Did you see it?
I didn't. No, didn't catch this one.
It was their second video. What do they call them? The Constellation Questions. With Will Shen, who, by the way, is the friendliest looking mofo out there. Look at that guy.
Okay.
That smile on that guy. That's a friendly man.
Oh wow, yeah, he does look nice.
Yeah, he does. And so you know, it was only 5-minute long video, but things very exciting. You know, a couple of things. There's one thing in particular which I'll land on at the end, but They said that you can go back to Earth. In the game, the Earth is called the Old Neighborhood, and there are quests to take you back there. You can go to Mars. It was shown off in the trailer, which was one of Earth's first kind of interstellar settlements, and that has its host of its own problems. There are different areas and settlements on it that can be on any planet with mini storylines and quests. You can join any faction. They spoke about factions in this one, right, and how that kind of works. And they sort of spoke about like, does being in one faction lock you out of other factions, like it does in Fallout 4, or can you join all of them like you could in Skyrim? In this one, you can join all of them, but you don't become the head of the faction. It's more that the role that you play in the quest nudges the faction towards different thing in the universe, which I thought was really cool. So, for example, they pointed to the Freestar Collective going towards justice or industry, and I thought that was a cool way to go about it. Yes, I actually need to be the head of 8 different factions, but actually I can go through the whole quest line and I can have an impact on the wider universe through this faction, and you can do that with all of them in one playthrough.
Sweet.
So I thought that was a kind of a cool way to go about it. They also said that companions can negotiate for you. So you can kind of be like, if you go up to a gate and the guard says, "What are you doing here? You can't be here." You can kind of be like, "Oh, ask him, your companion," and they'll speak on your behalf. And that can be like good or bad depending on who they are, the connections they have, and how that works. And it can have consequences and all of that, which I thought was quite a neat way. You can really role play an introvert now.
Oh, let's go. It's me.
Just not ever talk.
Yeah. Let's go.
It's good stuff. Let's go. And really in its entirety, that it is. It's not by any means, but I'm like I like hearing him talk about it. I was like, man, there really aren't many games like Bethesda games, are there? Like VGS games, like what, like games with like full-on factions, and you go through their whole storylines and NPC. Like the closest thing we had is the Outer Worlds, but that's that was a while ago, and it's not on the same scope, obviously. So I know. Yeah, what are your thoughts on all this? What are you feeling, man?
Yeah, it's just more little tasty little tidbits, little information that just goes towards just the fact that this game, I do think, is going to be very big. And like you said, it's you don't get BGS games very often, and nothing really tries to replicate them on the same sort of scale. So I'm just really excited to just dive back into something like this, and even just these small little tidbits, they just get me excited for just what's to come, and just how big this is, and even these little things can make a big impact on just the overall game, in my opinion. Like like factions and stuff like that are really, really big in my eyes. So it's cool that I can join as many as I want, and it affects the world around me, and it's not just like the typical start at the bottom, you're at the top, sort of thing.
That's
my God, the guy who was in charge ended up betraying you. Oh my God, you kill him and now you're the leader of the Dark Brotherhood.
Oh my God.
It's not just the same shit. So it's really exciting. Everything I hear about Starfield just puts a smile on my face and just makes me want it even more. So
yeah, I'm totally with you. I hadn't thought about it actually, like in that sense, like not having that kind of angle of like climate action, it gives them a bit more flexibility in the storytelling they can actually do. You're absolutely right, rather than it just being like a power fantasy of like, now I'm the best fighter around, now I'm the best vampire around, now I'm the best politician around, and it's just that's just what it is. Yeah, it's more that you're just a pivotal part in this galactic, kind of story. So yeah, really exciting. And when they speak about things, fucking little we actually know about the game. Man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they really haven't. There's so much still to be uncovered. Yeah, for sure.
Which is like a good thing, because it's not that they haven't shown us a good amount. It's that the game looks so big and thorough that there's so much more to see and to show. As it goes with BG, their own thing. And I really missed that. Like I was thinking about this the other day, and this is podcast. When I was playing God of War, I was like, "There's like, I'm having a good time. Going to keep saying that because I don't want anything explosive sent to my house." But
Yeah.
like, there's like very little like player expression, and as I got like, 'cause I'm at like the 40-hour now, like just under that, and I'm just like, it's quite linear a lot of the time, and I'm like, I kind of miss like doing my own, or wandering off and finding my own thing. Doing this because I want to do it, not because it's the next thing to do.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
It's
I haven't
making
done that. Elden Ring, I guess, was the last thing, but
I was about to say, it's probably making you want to go back and play Elden Ring. Yeah.
yeah, there is a bit of that. But of course, like BGS games are not all that similar. There's
No.
I think there's like surprisingly little overlap. But yeah, exciting stuff.
Definitely.
All right, Tim. It's the last story of the day, and
Let's go.
it's horrible. Have you
Let's
seen what
not
it
go.
is?
I have seen what it is. Yeah.
Mm.
And
I left it till last though. I
gobsmacked.
Yeah. I left it
You
till
worth
last
the
'cause
money at this
obviously
point.
it's a big yeah, well there is that. So this is the bit that so I've already spoken about it, but it was around Microsoft offering PlayStation the right to put Call of Duty on PS Plus surrounding the whole ABK deal. And this was an offer which the FTC didn't even they declined to sit down with Microsoft about this remedy. Microsoft obviously have like a list of remedies, and they were like, well, we do this, and the FTC looked straight up were like, no, we're not even going to hear you. They made the offer, and FTC were like, no, we're taking you to court. Don't know, dude. Don't know.
God, man, these guys are so bloodthirsty.
Yeah, the angle here that it's political. Lisa Khan, who's leading the FTC, kind of watched an interview with her, and she kind of feels that they need to start having pushback against big tech. Regardless if they lose the court battles, they need to be providing a disincentive for big tech mergers to just happen on a whim. It almost sounds like they're going into this knowing they're going to lose the court fight, like the court battle. They're not even hearing remedies. They're just like, no, we're just going to take you to court. So there is like a political slant to this. And a lot of other figures have been like, this is a weird strategy that the FTC are pulling. So we'll see. It is different as well because I think it's the EU and CMA, the UK's regulatory body as well. I'm pretty sure they've both said that they won't really consider behavioural remedies. So my understanding is that means it's like a conditional. If X happens, but if this goes through, then we will commit to allowing this to happen. And for some reason, maybe there's a reason for that. They won't really consider behavioral remedies, but nonetheless, FTC didn't want to hear it. I think it's kind of funny considering that's a fucking excellent outcome for PlayStation.
Yeah. It's an excellent outcome for both parties.
And for gamers. Hello, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Wasn't the whole point of this is that when they were challenging it in the first place was to make sure that gamers were not losing out, gamers would not suffer as a result of this deal.
Yes.
Wasn't that the entire reason this started?
It was.
And then
it was.
And then this comes to play that just benefits every fucking gamer on the planet. And even on Switch, everything, just every single platform of gaming benefits from this. And they're like, still going to take you to court, Philly. It's personal.
Yeah, that's right. And there is an argument to be made. Didn't entertain it because they want the deal killed. They don't want remedies. They want the deal killed. And Joaquin says in the chat as well. It's yes, it would be better for us for sure, and but PlayStation would have to it's likely that they would be forking out money to be going on Game Pass. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, you can have it on PlayStation Plus, but you've got to pay us like $1 billion.
Yeah,
Which obviously,
definitely.
PlayStation don't want to do that. They don't want to siphoning their revenue that they were previously getting over to Xbox. They don't want to do that. But I mean, this is the benefit of having someone who is committed to a subscription service model acquiring ABK. They're serious about the benefits of putting stuff on the sub service. And yeah, you're absolutely right, Tim. Yeah, like this is one of those things where you start to question like the motive here. Like, what are we doing? Like, is this not a good thing? I don't care if PlayStation have to pay 500 million to get it. Like, everybody gets COD for 5% of the price. Essentially, it's an undeniable good thing having stuff in a sub service, as long as the sub service isn't scalping you for price, which they're not. So,
yeah,
what are we doing here? And like, there was a I think it was it no, it was the EU. No, maybe it was the CMA. I think it was the CMA. So over on our side of the pond, they had I can't remember what they called it. It was like a publishing opinion. It's anonymous though. It was like a 10-page report from an anonymous publisher about what they think on the ABK deal. We don't know who it was. It might have been Epic. A lot of people seem to think maybe it was Epic. And they were very much in favor of the acquisition. They were like, there's really no reason for you to block this, especially considering the scenarios around the market with Xbox, the current benefits that Game Pass are providing. Activision have already said that they're not going to put anything. Like, if this deal didn't go through, COD would never appear on a subscription service.
Yeah.
So that's already like a massive tangible benefit. And that's not including Xbox, but COD on Switch, right? We've spoken about that last week, and Steam, that's not including that. So like, when you start to factor all of this in, I'm really starting to like just scratch my head of like, what are we doing here? Like, what's the objective?
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, Microsoft are clearly very willing to meet in the middle and be like, look, we'll sign a contract. You have it on your platform for 10 years and you can have it on, but they just, I don't know.
Yeah, it almost needs to be brought back to square one, and some text needs to be dug up back from when this all initially started. Where they were all talking about just making sure that the gamers aren't getting screwed. I feel like that just needs to be brought back up again and being like, wasn't this the whole reason this started? I feel like it's turning into something else now. So yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
I really feel like it's the amount that Microsoft is being asked to bend backwards to make this a friendly deal. Well, like, when it already was. I think an outsider could kind of see that this was already a deal which was ultimately going to end up benefiting gamers, unless a series of edge cases happened, which was like, it's just not Xbox's recent history, unless they were suddenly like, yeah, no, all exclusive now. And we're cranking up, we're doubling Game Pass. Those were where things would have suddenly gotten worse. But that just isn't the history, and they're willing to make all these commitments. So it just doesn't feel like Xbox are having to make fair compromises. Like, the fact that they're making these offers and not even being heard, it just kind of is a bit weird to me. So we'll see. I mean, man, just do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Take it to court by all means. This is clearly the one. This is clearly with big tech. This one, the video game company trying to get more video games. Definitely not any of the other things. No, they were fine. This is the one.
Yeah.
I know it's whataboutism, but it still annoys me.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Yeah. That's especially when this just benefits so many people. So it's just, I don't know. Yeah, it's a weird one. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. And the small addendum on there are now two big union organizations, two of the largest union organizations in the USA, the AFL-CIO, don't know what that stands for, and the CWA. That's a much better abbreviation. Together they have there's like 14 million members between them, so big. they both publicly support the Microsoft acquisition Blizzard merger, because of course the other side of this isn't just competition or protecting Sony's PlayStation's market dominance. It's like the actual workers. We all know part of the reason this deal seems to have even happened is because Xbox saw an opportunity with how fucked Blizzard has been with their own PR.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good, it's good optics. It's like, Microsoft has been one of the voted as one of the best places to work, like for years now. That's a good look when you're trying to get rid of one of the worst places to work with all the allegations.
Yeah.
So of course, and Microsoft have pledged to remain neutral with unions. And we spoke about the unions last week with the QA testers, and then it happened at Raven Softworks, and Microsoft said that they'll stay neutral with that. So. Of course, like this is it's good. It's not just good for the consumers; it's good for the workers. It's going to be this is the thing. It's going to be a really bad for regulators to block it and just allow Blizzard to keep doing what they're doing. Of course, they're having internal, like shufflings, but
it's just a bad look.
It's a bad, exactly. To say like, no, we're not going to be taken over by one of the best places in the world to work, and to get reshuffled and kick, have more oversight essentially. Like, no, we're going to say no to that. It's just a bad look on the workers front. Yeah. And I saw that as well. Joaquin says, did you guys see the former FTC head call this lawsuit nutty? Yeah, he was the guy that successfully beat Microsoft in the 90s. It's a nutty approach. Yes, I did see that, which is kind of what I meant. Like, it kind of seems like it's definitely a different approach they're taking. But like when I watched the interview with Lisa Khan, the current head of the FTC, she seemed to feel that there needs to be more disincentive than the FTC needs to get more involved, even if they lose. So we'll see. It will drag it out for longer. And, I think really whether the EU and the CMA come around, it will, at least a little bit, hinge on the success that Microsoft have during the court case, So.
Definitely.
ABK.
Suck the life out of me. Hey.
All right, well, we did it. That's it. I think we came in just under the 2-hour mark. Yeah, not so bad. Tim, closing thoughts on the show today. Closing a Christmas message to listeners and viewers and all the friendos.
Yeah, it's probably one of the worst shows you've done to date. But Merry Christmas. It's been good. There's some good stuff to talk about today. Halo on the verge of coming back, and fuck ABK. But some controversial thoughts on ads. I think we both had different opinions on that, which was good, and hopefully we see an event in January. So good show.
Please.
And Merry Christmas to everyone. We won't be seeing you next year. I was about to say we won't be seeing you next week. So have a very Merry Christmas. We'll catch you guys on the Sunday afterwards. I don't know if that will be in the new year or not. I don't think so.
Well, I'm looking right now, and it's New Year's Day. We're going to be able to do
New Year's Day.
We might just have to keep you posted. Yeah, you might. I don't know. I tentatively think I'm available, but I'm not sure. So we might have to just keep you posted. So if not if New Year's Day on, it'll be January the 8th.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, sounds good. But yeah, Merry Christmas, and we'll see you guys when the January Xbox show happens.
Yeah, when it happens. That's right. I'm just manifest it. Yeah, I think it was good. We had a good year. The Quick Resume podcast had a good year. I think 22. Yeah. We went from I think we went from 10 to 40 something subscribers this year. So that's good. I'm happy with that. We're doing what we got. A nice
small
background.
Growth is still growth.
We've done reaction videos, with the whole emoji,
Yeah.
I think we got this year is that we got our proper the UI assets, not the UI, what I mean, the asset on the fucking video. Yeah, good job, everyone. We got some more engagement. It's been a good year for the for the QRP. And yeah, like Tim said, I hope you have a good Christmas lined up, a good New Year lined up, and we will see you at the January Xbox showcase for sure.
Yeah, we'll be hosting it. Cool.